I always knew, this is going to sound really dark. I always knew I would either die drinking or on stage. But it's, one of them is out of the way, so there's only there. So I didn't die drinking, so there you go.
Hi, I'm Liberty. I'm here with NME. This is In Conversation with Thundercat.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm chilling.
How you been finding London so far?
It's been fun. Been hanging out at Forbidden Planet. Going to Selfridges.
You went to Selfridges?
Yeah.
Did you get yourself some more good jewelry?
I've learned not to buy jewelry from a department store. No, but no, I have places like that I like going when I get here sometimes, yeah.
How you been finding the tour so far? Have you managed to go around and explore?
I like going places that I like to go, but a lot of the time I'm kind of to myself, so I kind of stay in the same places and then that's it.
Speaking of sort of staying in the same place, you've got a bit of a London residency going on in Camden, 4 back-to-back shows in Coco.
Yeah, no, that was pretty crazy. If I do say so myself. Playing back-to-back sometimes can be challenging because it's wear my voice out a bit or whatever sometimes, but no, it was fun.
Yeah, how did you find it? 4 back-to-back nights in the same space. How did you keep it fresh?
I don't know, just playing with Justin and Dennis is always intense as hell. And I think that even if we're just chilling, it's still insane. So it's the part where I'm if we play the same song, it's gonna be even more complicated the next time around,
Because I was there for the second show. You were having fun with it this time. You were shredding. You were going for it. I feel was it different each night? Was it just what felt right in the moment?
Yeah. Because, a lot of the time there's always this notion of going in there with this is the kind of approach to it. I don't really, Dennis loves making set lists. And I'm always just what would give you the notion that this makes sense right now? And it's putting a bunch of words in front of my face is asking me to go figure it out psychologically yourself. So it's the set list would be there and I just, go with how it feels.
Because I feel touring isn't anything new to you. You're very seasoned with this. You've been touring since you were a teenager, right? Mm-hmm. I saw somewhere online that one of your first projects was a band called No Curfew when you were a teen. Is that true?
Why would you go looking up No Curfew? That's rich. Yeah, I was in a little boy band.
I mean, you got to start out somewhere. I heard that little boy band was actually doing kind of well in Germany at some point, so don't play it down. Yeah, no, that was a thing, and it was pretty fun. I still talk to a couple of the guys in the band. We see each other every now and again. I come to a city and it's Ryan brings his family out, or Akima saw when I go to Japan, and he lives in Osaka. Yeah, he's I got a family now, and I'm just over here just being Matt Stone and Trey Parker from basketball. It's what are you doing now, Steven? I'm I'm still playing video games and collecting Pokemon cards. And they're cool. It's just okay, you didn't grow up. And I'm yes, I did. Yes, I did. I got a tour bus. You saw me here on a tour bus. I'm an adult. What's it been like for you to tour over so long now? Has your perception towards live music changed or evolved in any way?
I've always been excited for it. It's always been I would indulge in seeing somebody play live. I love to stand around and check it out. The excitement's never changed since I was a child. I love that. And as far as it's evolving and as far as the live thing, if anything from going from playing bass to singing and playing bass was the biggest evolution of it to me, I think. And I don't know, I'm very excited about what comes next.
Could you ever see yourself releasing music and maybe not touring it in the future, or do you reckon those two will always be inextricably linked to you?
Always, yeah. I always knew, this is going to sound really dark, I always knew I would either die drinking or on stage. But it's, one of them is out of the way, so there's only there. So I didn't die drinking, so There you go.
Is that really something you thought?
Yeah.
Damn. Well, okay, that's...
It's like the air got a little thicker in here. I'm sorry, but it's true.
It's all right. I mean, at least we're going to see more of you on the road. Just hold out a bit longer, yeah?
Guys, I'm okay.
Speaking of releasing new music and taking it on the road, you know what I'm going to ask you. Thundercat, where's the new album at?
I'm working. I've been working on it. I think that it's life in between is just as important as it itself. So I don't know. It's like I don't put so much. I try not to put so much pressure on what it's supposed to be, or But I also look at it and I go, I'm just moving in the manner that feels natural to me. I'm very much creating music, of course, all the time, but trying not to think so much.
Last time we spoke, I asked you the same question, and you were like, I'm well underway with writing. Since then, I've seen you dropping hints online. I went to your live show, you've been dropping songs in there. I feel like we're closer than you're letting on.
I mean, sometimes you think it's a shit and it's actually a fart. And also sometimes you think it's a fart and it's actually a shit. You gotta be careful. You never know until you take a chance. So we will see. Yeah, we will definitely see what happens in the near future when it comes to farts and shits. No, the album. That's about the same thing.
I think it was a song that you described as somewhat of like a shout out to people with ADD. Your show, which it set everyone off when you were saying about that, but it's a great song. I mean, you need to give me a bit of like a hint about what that was.
That's going to be on my headstone. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I said it right up. It was a nice song though. It's like, but wait, what was the question about it? What was the question about?
Tell us a bit more about like the inspiration
behind
that one.
That one? I think like it's so like everybody likes the idea of being like, something. But at the same time, it's like, have you been diagnosed as become a normal part of conversation on a daily basis, just throughout processing in general? Everybody's like, oh, great, I have ADHD. It's like, you have an iPhone. We all have ADHD, to some degree, especially if you have social media. For everything having a name and title and a term, it almost just doesn't also agree with the part where maybe that's normal. Not having a cell phone. So having a cell phone is not normal, but it's just also like, the idea of there's something wrong with this as compared to that's what it actually is. It just is, but it's all with the idea and notion of functionality and highly functioning or low, like, oh, you don't move as fast, or this moves faster, you can get to something faster sometimes. It doesn't matter either way, so like the whole ADD through the roof is like, it's just like somebody turned the saturation up and you just eating Skittles for breakfast and like immediate crash. Like, not only did I skip school, but I also like stole a cop car, and then that's when I went to go crash it into the Capitol. It's just like, what part of that was the ADD? The whole thing is just like, yeah. So,
looking at your last album, I feel like a big theme at the core of it was sort of coming to terms with loss, or even just accepting things that are out of your control. Going forward, what kind of inspiration have you been harnessing?
Pain, more pain. That moment when Anakin thought he was doing good, I always think about this moment. I think about this moment quite often. Like, when did Anakin actually like snap? And I think about this. This has been a very big debatable conversation, and you go like, was it the part where, he thought he was getting closer to becoming the Jedi and they just denied him? Was it the part where he followed the orders to kill all the children? No. I was like, was it the part where he killed Count Dooku? No. I think the moment Anakin found out that he was having a baby, that's the inspiration. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. No, I think there's always like an air of just letting things be what they are. So there's a part where it's kind of like, the inspiration is just things as they are. You know, like life, whatever life is for me right now.
I feel like last time we spoke, we did talk a lot about Star Wars. And
That's funny.
I was pushing you to get more Star Wars cameos lined up. It was just after.
See, that was even subconscious. I didn't even realize we did that. Good Lord.
It's still on the radar. I feel like, are you still sort of pursuing it?
Star Wars? Always. Every time I walk into a toy store and I see everybody else's character, and then I'm just like, I'm not good enough. I'm like, where's my toy, Hasbro? I mean, maybe they follow my Instagram. Huh?
I'm surprised they haven't brought one out.
I know. I'm like, they got Moff Gideon. They got everybody. They got fucking Forrest Whitaker. They got everything. They got the robots. I'm like, I'm like, where are the modifiers in the modifier?
Exactly. I mean, that to me sounds like a spin-off. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have Fennec Shand.
I agree.
There we are.
I saved Fennec Shand. I have a shop. Give me my shop back.
Yeah.
Or something.
I think a spin-off.
I think it's great.
I don't think that's too much to ask.
I don't think I'm that problematic on the internet. I haven't said anything too crazy. I probably have, but we'll only find out as things progress. I don't know.
Speaking of what you've been posting online, you did celebrate 5 years being sober recently, which first off, congratulations. What's that sobriety been like in terms of writing new music or just being creative in other outlets? How's it inspired you or changed your approach?
In life, I think that I just chose something different. And what comes with it is almost like, in certain respects, it feels like I had to learn to walk and talk again. In other respects, it just felt like everybody's always like, does it feel better? And I'm like, deciding to stop drinking as the eclipse is everything right now is like you decide to stop drinking in the apocalypse. It's just kind of like, great timing, Steven. it's like I should have held off a little longer. No, I don't know. It's just different. It's different, and I'm just learning to vibe with who I am without it.
On the lighter note, can we expect to see any collaborations on new material? Speaking of new starts, maybe new partnerships on the way?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's one of the joys of what I feel like I do. I love the idea of collaborating with people, especially when it's something that feels right, And again, with like the Dover Street Market thing that just happened, or like, it's not just about music to me, So I'm very excited about things to come in the future. I know of a few things that are coming. I'd rather not say because it's no spoilers. I get in trouble for spoiling stuff, for being a little bit too like keen on talking about it, or like, So there's a part of me where I'm like, having your friend always go like, thanks a lot, Steven. And it's just like, no spoilers. So I'm learning to shut up. But there are things that are definitely coming that are pretty awesome.
How do you decide to pursue a collaboration? What is it about working with a certain person that is the main thing that jumps out to you?
I don't know. I feel like that's the magic of what it is, because it's like, it's unexplainable sometimes. Sometimes you get on with people and it's like, it's cool. Sometimes it has to be prodded out of you. Sometimes that's just what it is. Sometimes you want to pursue things and it's, but the magic of it is the unknown part and the unlikely, or like the not so expected. You're like, oh, that's a surprise. Actually, I really love this and I want this. Or, having to venture out into it. So it's like, the part for me is the unknown that makes it something special, because it wasn't expected there was never expected things that have happened in the past, collaboratively.
I feel like it pushes you into new directions in that sense as well. Maybe if you can't envision it, sometimes just diving in headfirst, it'll lead you somewhere and it'll be even more creative that way.
Yeah.
You've got a collaboration with Justice coming out later this month.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. I
love Justice. And I would hope that everybody does too. Those are some funky Frenchmen right there. They are. And we had worked a little while ago, and, it was kind of like, again, it was like, I didn't know what to expect personally, but all I knew was I was a fan. I knew I was for sure a fan, And again, I got to see them live before anything, and that was mind-blowing, And when it came to it, and us deciding to meet to try to create something. All three of us were sitting there like this. I don't know what, and so like playing songs and playing things I've been working on. We're kind of figure places. Like what is this? Maybe you can do this. I don't know. Play bass or something. And we're finding different things. And I think that as it started to take shape as to like we would like you to do this. It was like and being open to, because even for me it's a bit of a difference in sound. I didn't know how they would feel about, even, but I think it was us doing this together. So like, even when it comes to the writing or conveying the ideas and the music, it's just like, it was hands-on between all three of us, because they wouldn't let me veer off into space too far when it comes to like what would come naturally to mind. It's like, this is not funny, or like, like trying to find it without it being too cheeky,
Speaking of collaborations, last time we spoke, I asked you who your dream collaboration would be, and you said Andre 3000. Since then, he has gone on to release that incredible, 187-minute flute album. What are your thoughts on that? Have you managed to check it out yet?
Yes, I have. I got to go to the listening party. I got to see this installation. I got to see I'm very proud of my friends that worked on this, Carlos Nino, I'm very proud of him and his work. And I'm very proud of Andre 3000 for stepping out, stepping into another place. And he's like, it's literally like he just reminded people like, hey, you forget we're artists, And the album is beautiful, And I recently saw the thing he did with Kamasi and Monopoly. And I'm just like, I'm very elated by the part that this exists, And it's almost like it's a moment for me where it's like I getting to see him from different perspectives is just as important, Like I remember the first time I met him, when he was working with South Rock Creative Partners, into like, life where it's like I had a chance to meet his family and all of the above. And I'm just happy that he's still here. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to see him walking around with his beanie on and, and now he's like, he's digging into something, and he's on a path in a different direction that we're all here to see, and this is also, again, the genuine article of what we all generationally have loved, mm-hmm. And I still would love to work with him, but only as he sees fit, and again, coming from a fan's perspective.
Could you see his new sound and his new approach fitting more or less with the vision that you first had in mind?
I think it all fits. I think there's a place for all of it. There is no separation of him from the rap to the singer to the producer to the flautist. And I think that they all are facets or like of a prism that he is, and like it all plays together.
Something I found really interesting is that you come from such a musical background, so you've grown up with incredibly skilled musicians as parents. What was it like for you to be exposed to that kind of musicianship from such an early age?
I couldn't be more grateful for it. It helped me take it serious. It helped me know that there was there's something to obsess over that's not crazy. Yeah, no, my parents with the music for me, it's like, as I get older, I'm like, I really, you start to really, really appreciate how they raise you, mm-hmm. And I think that that's hitting me harder and harder as the time progresses, where I'm just like, wow, my parents really put a lot into us. And I'm like, sometimes I just tell my dad, thanks. Just hit him up and say thanks. He's like, what? Nothing. Thank you, Dad. I'd say I love you sometimes, and he's like, the best part ever, whenever you tell your dad, is like, you say, I love you, Dad, and he goes, yeah, I raised you. I was like, that means shut up, get away from me. I did this already, you stay over there. My dad is again, one of the loves of my life, and my mom.
Because I feel like it's amazing in one way. I feel like you got exposed to what great musicianship was. I feel like in your home, arts must have been really celebrated, where in some homes they aren't as much. Mm-hmm. And being exposed to so many great musicians and inspirations that your parents had, and obviously all the amazing musicians of the 70s, for instance. But also in another way, was there maybe an element of pressure there as well?
I mean, a lot of the time there's like a I don't know, if from my perspective, I've always been a bit like I sometimes it didn't immediately feel like that, so I don't think emotionally, or I couldn't see it like that necessarily as compared to fun for the most part. So like pressure I didn't feel pressure until Mr. Andrews gave me a bass solo. Because it was always kind of like, I didn't, I would be happy just playing, but like, you're playing all this big band music or playing these jazz tunes, and, Mr. Andrews directing a band, and, he gives Kamasi a solo, or he gives Ryan a solo, and the minute he goes like this and says, your turn, and I'm like this. That I remember in those moments, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And, and then at one point I remember being like, okay, he's giving me a solo, I'll be ready this time. Yeah, and that was like early on.
Because in one of your songs, Bustin' These Streets, I hear you sort of talking about, we touched upon it earlier, the impact of technology in everyday life, whether it's through creativity or just day to day. And I feel like in that song, you're almost yearning for a bygone era where that wasn't as much the case. Was that maybe from seeing your parents write in that time?
No, I don't think it's a longing as compared to just the observation of like knowing the difference. Like I don't think I've ever longed for that. Like not in a nostalgic sense, but like there's a part where I look at things and realize things like the world will never know what life was like before 9/11. The world will never know what life was like before, and everybody goes like, remember we used to go outside? And I'm like, I didn't like that shit either. But it's just kind of like, realizing like, if it, like every time they say something stupid on the internet, like, what if all the cell phones went out? And it's just like, for anybody that's like, this is like, I remember that. Mm-hmm. I didn't care then either. Like, it's like, oh no, crypto crashed. And you're just like, what? You're like, what? Like, I still eat top ramen and it's just like, I just learned to stop microwaving styrofoam. So you're just like, guys, look, it's just like, none of it, it's just kind of like cannon fodder. That's what I call most stuff. So like the idea of the song, Bustin' These Streets, is kind of like this weird, like, I literally just got into an argument with a friend about how much I care less about what you're eating in the day. You take a picture. Oh, looks so good. It's like, I don't fucking care. Like, what? Did you pay your taxes this year? I don't care about the sushi you're eating. Like, it was so offensive. It was like so like a battleground. Actually, that's messed up. You should be paying attention. It's like, to what you're going to poop out later? No, I shouldn't. No, that is not as important as the CERN machine that they're about to fire at the sun. That's clearly going to reintroduce Kaguya. Like, guys, we summoned the demon. It's like, you knew you were going to do that. It's like, guys, they fired a rocket at the sun. And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, that's just as important as you and your what you guys are doing at the barbecue. Check out this plate of rack of lamb, and you're just like, we're gonna die. I don't know. I guess I'm a doom scroller as compared to a foodie. Like, foodie. It's just like Andrew Tate. It's just like, ah.
Okay, last question I've got for you. It seems like Japanese culture and it seems like anime culture, this is more of like on a personal note for me, has been at the core of your artist identity. What was it years and years ago that first resonated with you and has made you sort of carry it forward up until now?
Anime? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the part where I should have had some magnesium because you're going to start panicking. Why is anime important to me? Because I love illustration. I love drawing. I am an illustrator myself. I'd like to think of myself as one. And then, I don't know, I'm like, not only being like some of the more highlighted moments in my life where I'm like, I've just always, like, I'm always excited about anime. Like, even though everything, I always feel like we're kind of like, I've mentioned a couple of times, everything feels a bit post like, you know, it's like Golden Age, Silver Age, and then like the ending of Berserk, basically. And like every time I say that, there's like only person that knows what the ending of Berserk is a person that knows what the ending of Berserk is. So it's like I'm always constantly in this weird like, oh, that's right, Steven. Not everybody knows what Berserk is. It's like, so like, but it's just like right underneath the surface where I'm just like, have you watched Berserk yet? Yeah, it's just like, no. And I'm like, ah, you know, but I don't know, like it's always played a major role in the processing for me. Like I like to back catalog anime now too sometimes, you know. It's like I saw something the other day, like I remember when Crunchyroll was purchased by Funimation, and I was like, oh damn it. And then I was like, and then now I saw that Funimation was purchased by Sony, and I'm like, god damn it, we're never gonna get the original version of any of these cartoons. Like they just nerf them over time. And I said something to somebody the other day where I was like, you walk into Forbidden Planet or you walk into a comic store nowadays, and this is proof that it's just like whatever era we're in is just like we're like in a simulation. It's the part where I'm like, how is it that manga and anime, like there is no 18 and over section anymore? That's proof that like we're just living in like a Taco Bell taco. Cause it's just like, I remember where it was like, you know, there was some separation for a reason. Like being able to find someone of like Shintaro Kago's or like Kentaro Morai's work right next to like a children's book, you have got to be fucking kidding me. You know what I mean? It's just like, but I mean, it's massive now. Like it's nice to see that it's become such a big, everybody, I think I genuinely blame it on the pandemic that everybody is interested in anime and manga. It's like, I want to connect to my kids. Guys, I watched Cowboy Bebop. It's like, dork. I was like, I was the dork. I was like, I used to be the dork because there was like 3 of us. It was just like, what? You watch cartoons, you nerd? And now there's like this guy that's like, guys, have you watched One Piece? It's like, go sit down. You know, it's like at this point, you know, but I love when my friends come and ask me about stuff sometimes because I'm always like, I kind of gatekeep anime. Mm-hmm. And I feel like anytime I've made a suggestion for somebody watching anime, they always come back like, you're horrible. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I just know anime and manga. I was like, you don't know anything about it. You thought it was real cute, like Sailor Moon all the time. You know.
Okay, well, on that happy note, Thundercat, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thanks.